Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to bring to the stage the wonderful Steve Hall!
Good evening. Yes, indeed, my name is Steve Hall. As Russ said, I write the show with him, but as well as being a writer on this lovely show, I am also, as Russ said, a stand-up comedian in my own right. And you're in safe hands. I'm excellent. I was once reviewed by the Sunday Times as being fine. So strap in, it's going to be marvellous. So as well as a writer on this show and a sort of hidden gem of stand-up comedy, I'm also a very, very average dad. My daughter is 4 years old. Her name is Polly. She is the apple of my eye. My daughter's favourite thing in the world at the moment is the TV show In the Night Garden. If you don't know In the Night Garden, it's a TV show designed to make children sleepy and parents suicidal. She loves all the characters. She loves Iggle Piggle. She loves Upsy Daisy, but she really loves Makka Pakka. If you don't know Makka Pakka is a small, special needs gentleman with walnut whips glued to his face. He likes collecting stones and washing faces like some kind of OCD Jesus. And my daughter loves him so much she runs around the house shouting his name, shouting Makka Pakka, reminding herself that he exists. Makes her ever so happy. But my little girl is only 4. She hasn't mastered language. Every now and then she makes mistakes. Sometimes those mistakes are fairly embarrassing. We were in a local park a few months ago. My beautiful baby daughter, at the top of her lungs, in front of many other children and many other parents, simply screamed, "Motherfucker!" That is very difficult to bounce back from as a parent. I was quite proud of my response. I just said, "No, Daddy." So I love being a dad. I'm a soppy sod since I've become a dad. It's changed me completely. I used to be a big old drinker, and it's changed the way I even get drunk these days. If I get a bit tipsy these days, I get very sentimental. I find myself going on crowdfunding websites like Kickstarter. And I get really emotional at people trying to achieve their risible dreams. For example, just after my daughter was born, I found an artist in California. And what she wanted to do was create a massive crowd painting, a huge advertising billboard-size crowd painting with at least 200 people in it. If you sent some money, you could send a photo of you or a loved one for inclusion in the artwork. And if they raised enough money, it was going to stand in a remote bit of California for 25 years as a lovely, peculiar piece of public art. So I thought it was a lovely idea. Rena Bennett was a bit pissed. I thought I'll send them some money and I'll send them a picture of my baby girl. And if it does indeed stand for 25 years, maybe when she's a young woman, Polly can go and visit it in the States. So I sent them $500 and I sent them the following photo of my little girl. There we go. Sent them my $500, sent them that picture. She's an absolute smasher, is she not? She's a cute one. It makes no sense that something this delightful could have swum out of my rancid old nutsack. But there you go. Sent them my $500, sent them this picture. Now, my friends, you are about to see the painting that my $500 bought me, and the fact that it's being shown as part of a comedy routine is a fairly safe indicator that things did not turn out well. Strap in, my friends. $500. Turn that wonderful photo into this. Because it turns out my daughter is Winston fucking Churchill. My daughter is what would happen if Timothy Spall had sex with Jabba the Hutt. My wife was absolutely furious, angry at the multiple chins, angry at the weird bit of shaved head. Mainly angry that this is going to stand for 25 fucking years. She was so furious, she was talking about taking legal action against the woman who painted it. However, before she wrote anything angry to the artist, she was aware I'd sent the files when I was a bit drunk. She's aware, and here I quote my wife directly, that I am a knob. She thought she'd better check exactly what I sent. I thought I'd sent the picture you've already seen. It took my wife 2 minutes of searching before she shouted down to me, "You drunk dickhead." This is what I'd actually sent. So it turns out it's actually a really good painting. She's actually done a really good job. The artist is excellent. I am simply the worst parent in the fucking world, and my daughter is the finest Prime Minister this country has ever known. What you got, if you spent 500, you would eventually get a little portrait, a little 6x4 portrait as well. The artist finally sent that. I finally saw it for the first time last month, and I have to share it with you. Check the portrait out. That is fucking nightmare fuel. That does not look like my daughter. That looks like someone has violently assaulted the Buddha. If you look closely, that's not her nose, that's a dick and balls. I weirdly love it. T-shirts are available from my website. And I love it when things go wrong like that. I love it when life kind of goes a bit tits up. This is my favourite story of things going wrong. I grew up in the lovely town of Boreham Wood. Not a particularly exciting place to grow up. The only thing Boreham Wood ever had going for it was the once great Elstree Film Studios. Made some amazing stuff in the past. Star Wars in the 70s, Indiana Jones in the 80s. It's not got a lot left. It's basically EastEnders and Strictly. And that's about it. But growing up there, as a kid, you'd sometimes get to interact with some of the famous things that were happening. Every now and then when I was a kid, my Uncle Dave worked as an electrician at the studios. So when we were small, we'd get to visit stuff being recorded. On the 22nd of January, 1980, I was 3.5 years old. I got to visit something being recorded. I won't tell you what it is. I'm sure you'll recognise it from the photos. And I hope these pictures bring you as much joy as they brought me over the years. So here we go. The 22nd of January, 1980, the single coolest day of my life. There we go, it's pretty wonderful, isn't it? I should explain, that unhappy-looking child, that honestly is me. Don't say which one are you, for fuck's sake. That is honestly me. In my defence, the reason I look so scared in that picture is I'd only ever seen the Muppets on telly, so seeing them like this, I thought they were all dead. I thought this was like a trophy cabinet for a weird serial killer. I think we can all agree the cardigan I'm wearing is absolutely magnificent. A stylish little toddler. The main question we have to ask is how on earth is it possible that I look like more of a Muppet than the Muppets? Hanging on that wall. Particularly enjoy the fella at the top in the middle, the way he is staring down at my tender little 3-year-old bum. I think he was probably a Radio 1 DJ in the 70s. If you look in the top left-hand corner, there's Nigel Farage. So it's an amazing day. Me and my dad got to meet Kermit the Frog up close and personal. I love this picture. This is the thing that I would rescue from a fire before anything else. And that's quite bad, given that I've got 2 babies at home. I love it so much, I think we can all agree, close up, the cardigan just gets better. Get the chunky zip on that bad boy. I like the fact that my dad looks a bit like Al Pacino. If Al Pacino had been a plasterer. I love this very much. Now, in recent years, my dad's been very ill. He's had a number of life-saving operations. It's been a tough time for him and for the family. It's only thanks to the magnificence of our NHS that he's been able to fight through. After one particularly difficult operation, he was going to be in quite a bad way. It was really going to kick the shit out of him. I wanted to do something nice for him while he recovered in hospital. Knowing that he loves this picture as much as I do, I thought I'd get it turned into a painting. You've seen how well the first one turned out. What could possibly go wrong? I found an artist online, a different one to the one I'd used before. Told her the story, told her how much me and my dad love this picture. She charged me £305 to turn this photo into a painting. For the second time tonight, my friends, you are about to see the painting that my money bought me. And once again, the fact that it forms part of a comedy routine, it's a safe bet things got pretty fucking weird. Your lives are about to change because £305 turn this wonderful photo into this. Don't look away from it. Do not look away, even as your eyeballs bleed and your retinas melt and you feel yourselves being psychologically scarred. Mummy, it burns. Mummy, it burns so much. Keep drinking in the magnificent horror of the single worst piece of art in the history of art. A piece of art that could not be any more offensive if it had been painted by Rolf Harris himself. And I paid £305 for that piece of shit. For some reason, the extra fiver hurts way more than the previous 300. I don't know much about art, but evidently neither does the woman that painted this. It's difficult to know where to start with this painting. The detail on average that upsets people the most is Kermit's creepy hand on my dad's shoulder. Kermit's weird praying mantis hand. Kermit with skin the colour of weak old guacamole. Kermit, who appears not to have slept for 3 days, leaning into my dad's ear in a very sinister way, as if to say, time to die. It doesn't look like Kermit. It looks like Kermit has fucked Gollum. It does not look like my dad. It maybe looks a little bit like Sir Paul McCartney. It's a little bit like Jimmy Tarbuck. A little bit like a young Tony Blackburn or John Craven. Looks a little bit like Pete Beale from EastEnders. Worryingly, my dad looks a little bit like Rose West. But let's move on to me now. I'm not an arrogant man. I'm well aware I will never be regarded as an attractive human being. At the same time, I am arrogantly confident that when I was 3.5 years old, my face was not fucking melting. She has painted my face like someone has opened the Ark of the Covenant next to it. I am 100% certain that when I was 3.5 years old, I did not look exactly like Liza Minnelli does today. And can you imagine presenting this to a man on his hospital bed? There you go, Dad, get well soon. No, I don't know why your knuckles are bleeding in the painting, Dad. I showed this to my mum. She started crying. She was crying for half an hour. All she could say was, "You look like Angela Merkel." Crying for half an hour, solid tears. Then abruptly, after half an hour of crying, she just stopped, completely out of nowhere, said, "To be fair, though, the cardigan looks lovely." And she is absolutely right. And what my lovely old mum has done is she has knit that exact cardigan for my 2 baby children. And that's the best bit about sharing this story with you. This is something that's only happened while we've been in series for this show. And so you are pretty much the first audience to hear this. But we can now officially say my dad is fully recovered. That's pretty cool. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been an absolute treat. I hope to see you again sometime. My name's Steve Hall. Have a lovely life. All the best. Cheers.